Can you shoot guns on your own land in Chatham County?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on the neighborhood and what the covenants say. It seems to be a very common question that we're getting right now. People need to look for what is known as an unrestricted property. And so in these traditional neighborhoods, Cary and Chapel Hill is coming to Chatham County. These traditional neighborhoods, they're not big on shooting Bambi or squirrels or even target practice in the backyard. So most newer subdivisions right now are prohibiting the discharge of a firearm. And even those that don't, they'll have a provision in the covenants that will say quiet enjoyment. And maybe a couple firing of rounds in the backyard is not limiting the quiet enjoyment. But if you're emptying a few clips every weekend, you might get to the point where you are eliminating the quiet enjoyment of the property for your neighbors. So one of the things people need to realize is covenants are like a pseudo quasi-government. But when you buy a property that is in a known subdivision, you are signing on to that quasi-government. So it's not like you get to move in there and say, oh, I'll change it. You're not going to change it. I mean, that's what, and the courts aren't going to side with you. They're going to say, you knew it going into it, and this wasn't good faith of the letter of the covenants, and you're being disruptive. And the only way you're going to get hurt by it is if a neighbor claims that you're hurting their property values and you're violating the covenants, and therefore they're going to sue you. But the North Carolina courts don't take kindly to people that buy into a subdivision and then wish to change them. So certainly unrestricted is the way to go, not messing with any kind of covenants. The good thing about an unrestricted property is you can pretty much do whatever the heck you want. The bad thing is so can your neighbors. So, there are some subdivisions that have, rather than protective covenants, we might call them like deed restrictions, and they're very loosey-goosey. And if it says no chicken houses, no swine facility, and no firing range, and no quarry, those are the things that really make a lot of noise. Or kennels is another big one. People don't like kennels right next door to them. So if you find an unrestricted property, that's the way to go. It's not just discharging of firearms. People call on us and ask us, can I pee off my back porch? Can I have 6 chickens? Goats are a big thing right now. A lot of people are asking for goats and everything. So it's just important to know, if it's unrestricted, you can do all those things. If there are covenants, we're not looking for loopholes in the covenant world. If you And you also need to look at the neighborhood. I mean, if you see it's a bunch of $500,000 homes, not only are they going to be more restrictive on their covenants, but those people have the wherewithal to call up their attorney and take you to court. So,
right. You have to be outside of Pittsboro city limits.
Probably. I mean, this is it's certainly a bird-free zone, and I mean, the local police department doesn't take kindly to discharging of a firearm in town. But I mean, if you have a reason, it's not illegal per se, but you're not going to get away with just target shooting in your backyard within the town limits. So, and this is a rural county, and certainly people like their guns, but it's with the density that's coming from Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, Apex, Cary. Those values are starting to come this way as well. And if you have more of a libertarian flair, perhaps south or west of Pittsboro is the way to go, is what I would advise someone if they were asking me about a situation like that.
All right. Sounds good.